Hello everyone, it's Jen. I hope you're having a fabulous holiday season. I'm back today with another project for Heffy Doodle. Today I am featuring the Llamazing Llama stamp set. I haven't had a chance to play with these little cuties since the release. So I'm going to create a scene card using that. I'm bringing in this rock from Prehistoric Pals, the mountains from Highland Honeys, and then I'm also going to use the cloud or bush from Home Sweet Home. So I'm bringing in some of my loved older stamp sets to create this scene. So I'm going to start with the background. I'm just using some of my Heffy Doodle Memo tape here so that I can create the distinction between the sky and my ground, which is kind of like the desert ground. So for the sky, I'm using Distress Oxide Ink in Tumbled Glass and Salvaged Patina. And I'm just using accent opaque cardstock here. If you want a really smooth blend, Bristol Smooth cardstock is amazing, but I knew that a lot of my scene was going to get covered with images, so I wasn't too worried about a smooth blend. Now you can see here the memo tape isn't sticking that well, and that's only because that oxide ink is still wet, but it's fine. It sticks enough when I'm using my hands that I can use it so that it gives me that separation so I'm not blending into that blue. So I'm using Dye Distress Oxide Ink here for my desert sand, and there's what that looks like. Now there's a slight gap there to the right hand side, but that's okay because my mountains are going to cover that. So I have everything colored out. I was coloring over the holidays. I will have a color map at the end of this video as well as on the corresponding Heffy Doodle blog post if you want to see all the Copic colors that I use to create this scene. But I'm using two of the mountain hills here, and I just want to create some depth and dimension to this card. It's pretty much a one layer card except for the llamas, but you can see that I am building dimension by just offsetting those two sets of mountains. So I'm going to have the one to the right a little bit more forward. And then having the little clouds there, you can see I've colored some up white as clouds, and then I have one in green, which I'll use as a little bush. But having those at different levels also creates some interest to the card. So I'm going to have two to the left hand side, kind of filling that open space. And then I'm going to have one tucked behind the mountain to the farthest right. I'm leaving some space up there for my sentiment. And now I'm just going to go ahead and play around with the rest of the images, just kind of figuring out where I want them. So I wanted to have three cacti. So I'm going to have one to the right hand side tucked behind the sweet little llama that is laying down, and then two sort of to the left behind the llama there as well. Now I brought in the little rocks or boulders. I just thought that that helped fill out the scene a little bit more. So I'm tucking one behind that llama to the right, and then one behind the wood sign there in the middle of my card. So I'm just going to adhere the cacti down with some liquid adhesive, and kind of offsetting those gives some depth and dimension to a scene card as well. So if you're trying to add some interest to your scene cards, it's a really easy way to achieve that without adding dimension from, say, foam tape or fun foam or something like that. It really is attractive to the eye to kind of have those offset. And also groupings really help as well. So you can see I have that grouping with the llama and the cactus to the right with the boulder, and then I have another grouping with the sign and the boulder and the little bush there to the middle, and then I'm going to have my final grouping to the left hand side with the two cacti and then the two llama. So I am going to add a couple of scarves to the two darkest llamas. I mean, how cute is that? I couldn't resist adding those and It is winter, so keeping them nice and warm. And then I'm going to glue the little baby llama to the taller one there. And the reason I'm doing that is because I want to add some foam tape, but it's easier for me to do that when they're adhered together. So I'm just going to add a little bit of foam tape here to all the llamas, and this will be the final touch for the dimension. I really want these little cuties to stick out on my scene card, so giving them a bit of dimension with foam tape allows that. So I'm just going to trim up the sides here where my images kind of peek over those edges. And then I'm going to stamp my sentiment. So there's some great sentiments in the Llamazing Llama stamp set. I'm going to use the one that says, "You are pretty Llamazing." There's one that says, "Best Mama Llama." Lots of love with the double L's like the llama. So cute. And then there's some travel ones. "I'll pack in my bags," "Bon voyage," and "Adventure awaits." So such a sweet little stamp set. So I did stamp that a couple times using my Versafine Clair Nocturne ink. And now just some last minute added details just to kind of spruce this up a little bit. So I used my black glaze pen for the eye on the llama that has the open eye, and then my white gel pen to add some dot details on the darker llamas and then some highlights on the cacti. I'm also going to add some highlights to the mountains as well. Again, just adding a little bit of interest to the images on the scene card. Super simple. I feel like my gel pens are one of my favorite crafty tools. So there's a look at the completed card. Here is the color map if you're interested in all the colors that I used for this Llamazing Llama scene card. I want to thank you all for joining me today. Like I said, I hope you're having a happy holiday season. Stay safe, everyone, and I will see you soon in the next one. Bye!